Order. I will call Mr Gregory Campbell to move the motion and will then call the Minister to respond. There will not be an opportunity for the member in charge to wind up, as is the convention, for a 30-minute debate. Order, order. Mr Gregory Campbell.
Thank you, Mr Turner. I beg to move that this House considers the Government's support for high street retailing. This is a subject matter that has concentrated minds for a number of years in recent times, Mr Turner, and we all are affected by the problems associated with high street retailing. In fact, Mary Portas just a couple of years ago said that the future of the high street will involve less retail but better retail, and that was about 3 years ago. And those who say there are difficulties or problems in the high street, I'm afraid, are mistaken, because unless towns across the United Kingdom are different to the towns I experience in Northern Ireland, high street retailing is worse than just in difficulties. Unless we have dramatic, innovative intervention, the high street in the United Kingdom is dying. As we know it, it is dying. And,
on that point?
Yes, I will.
First of all, can I commend my honourable friend for East London for bringing this forward? And he's absolutely right to say that the high street, unfortunately, and the retailers are all saying that across this whole United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland. But does my honourable friend not agree that the only way for the high street to survive is to adapt and move along with the times, and this takes technology, innovation and a support system like government is committed to?
Yes, I agree. I agree fully with my honourable friend, and innovation is going to be the key. I mean, in many towns, and I'm sure this is applicable across the UK, there are enough coffee shops and charity shops, and both of them are admirable additions to our high street. In fact, when I'm on constituency work, I find coffee shops are very convenient, especially if you haven't got much time to get a bite to eat. And they do offer a facility, as do charity shops. But the high street has to be much more than that. And this is not about the higher-end retailing that exists, perhaps, for example, in Regent Street or Oxford Street. And that's not to minimise the high streets across our country. But they may be doing well. And by the looks of Christmas just past, they are doing well in central London. Much of that is down to money that comes in from outside the United Kingdom. But yes, I will.
I thank my honourable friend for giving way. It's a pleasure to serve under your chairmanship, Mr Turner. Well, my honourable friend agrees with me. Like in my constituency in Brent, we have a lot of independent shops, and we should be more innovative in ensuring that we can give opportunities maybe to more pop-up shops to allow them to start a business.
Yes, I thank my honourable friend for raising that. I was just coming on to the business of independent shops. It's something that we have in Northern Ireland, where independent retailers have got an effective representational body and are really manfully and womanfully struggling to present their case in the face of huge multinationals that exist, particularly in the edge of town and out of town, where there has been a number of out-of-town developments which tend to swamp town centres. They take advantage of what is by and large free car parking, and town centres in some respects are choking because of commuters and people having to pay for charging. And so we have to be innovative, and we have to be more innovative, particularly in the prime months where, for example, in the run-up to Christmas, we've got to try and convince the various government ministers to introduce a charging structure that would benefit local independent retailers in the high street, to try and ensure that there is some benefit accrued to local people. Yeah, yes, I will.
Will the member give way? I want to thank the member for also bringing this debate. But would they also agree with me that there's also those other initiatives that we can look at as well to support those independent retailers, like the Living Over the Shop scheme that Antrim Newton Abbey Borough Council brought in, and
Robin Swan
launched their second phase in Ballyclare and Randallstown, closed at the end of last month, or the work that they were able to do as a council with the Levelling Up monies as well, where they were able to redevelop a space scheme in the middle of Antrim town, where they've opened up office facilities, actually just up above my
Gregory Campbell.
constituency office.
I thank my honourable friend for that, and those 2 or 3 options are options that are starting to develop, and those of them that are in vogue at the moment are reasonably successful, and they need to be built upon. Because, yes, I will. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Turner. Would you also agree with me that this is about a series of relationships between local councils, small businesses, and others to try and enhance town centres? So, for example, in my area, Reading Borough Council is working hard on getting improvements to paving and other visual improvements in the town centre to help support small businesses, which is a very valid initiative and hopefully will help attract more people into our town centre.
Thanks. Gregory Campbell.
Yes, I thank my honourable friend for that, and would concur with what he said. I notice, Mr. Turner, that this is turning into an intervention debate with a speech. But given that I intervene very regularly, and, well, I mean, I suppose I asked for that, but first.
I thank the honourable member for giving way. He's been very generous with his time, and he's brought a very important debate to the House. I mean, others might disagree, but I think my constituency is the best constituency in the world. We have one of the prettiest high streets in Hampstead, but the problem is, at the moment, Hampstead Post Office is under threat of closure because of years of underinvestment. It's a post office that I personally have been going to since I was a teenager. Elderly people rely on it, and so do small businesses as well that he's been referring to. Does the honourable member agree with me that if we want our high streets to thrive, the post office has to stay open?
Yeah.
Yes, I thank my honourable friend for that, and I was just coming to the issue of bank branch closures and post office closures, which unfortunately have exacerbated the problem in recent years. And we had a debate this morning where some of us mentioned the development of banking hubs, which has helped to a small degree, but it's going to take some time to roll out. This sector as a body, Mr. Turner, we have to remember there are over 2.5 million people employed in the retail sector across the United Kingdom. So this is not a niche sector that some people are annoyed about but doesn't affect a large number of people. This is a huge part of our economy and has to be the subject of innovative change and dynamic alignment. Yes, I was going to give way, yes.
Thank you very much for the member. And I know the challenges we're experiencing on the Saintfield Road in Sandy sound very much like what he is going to be dealing with in Coleraine and in Dungiven. Retail provides vibrancy and shared space and a huge rates take. If you look at the Lisburn Road in South Belfast, it puts around £6 million into the coffers of Belfast City Council. Do you think there's more we could be doing from Stormont in terms of calibrating the rates and supporting some of those particularly
Gregory Campbell,
like retail and hospitality?
The short answer to that is yes. I think some things are being done by devolved government, but I was alluding to the issue perhaps of rating of commercial premises in the run-up to Christmas to try to reduce car parking charges and rates at a time when many businesses only exist throughout the year because of the turnover that they get between October and Christmas Eve. I just wanted to move on now, Mr. Turner, to a quote from the boss of Iceland, who I understand is a supporter of the Labour government, so this is not going to be viewed, I hope, as a criticism of the government, but from a supporter. Richard Walker, the Managing Director of Iceland, just this week said that the Treasury is right to look at levelling the playing field on tax, that's his view, but it has parked its tractor in the wrong place, going after hard-working British farmers. Let's stop messing around and make online sales tax reform the priority. High streets and farmers are the bedrock of this great country. We need to get behind them. End of quote. Now, if that's what the boss of Iceland is saying, in many respects, I couldn't agree more. We've got to have this fundamental reassessment of where our high streets will be, not in 15 years' time, but in 15 months' time, because things are... Yes, I will give way, yeah.
Thank you, Honourable
member for giving way. He is being very generous with his time, and it's clear
Eleni
already
Ward.
from this debate that decline in our high streets is a common problem across the UK, including in my constituency. And I think we can probably all agree that it will take innovation, creativity and, crucially, investment to redevelop our high streets. And I wonder if you'd join with me in paying tribute to the work of local organisations like Love Our Langtoon and the Adam Smith Global Foundation in my constituency, who are doing so much to develop the future of Kirkcaldy.
Gregory Campbell.
I thank my honourable friend for that, and I don't know the organisations, but I presume on the basis of her endorsement that they're very worthwhile and worth defending. What I also wanted to come to, Mr Turner, was the issue again this week, which is a very topical issue. The government in the Irish Republic have indicated now that they are going to look at the terms of VAT in the Republic, and of course we have very close proximity to the Republic in Northern Ireland. At the moment, here in the UK, VAT is charged at 20%, and at the moment, in the Irish Republic, it's at 13%, which does put our high street retailers at a bit of a disadvantage, particularly those in the hospitality sector. But they have indicated in the Republic that they are going to reduce their rate yet again from 13% down to 9%, which means the gap, the disadvantage gap for Northern Ireland retailers and consumers has widened considerably, and to the disadvantage of people in Northern Ireland. So I would hope that the Minister, obviously he won't be able to respond immediately. If he does, I'd be very surprised and will welcome his response if he were able to say, I'm going to go to the Treasury and I'm going to get special dispensation for Northern Ireland hospitality in the High Street and get a 5% introductory fee for the next 4 years of this Parliament. I think that would be an excellent idea. And I think it would get support across the divide in Northern Ireland. But I would hope he would have some discussions with his colleagues to try and see what can be done, because we are at an acute disadvantage where it is most heavily felt. Because, for example, just this past couple of days, there have been hotel managers, there have been hospitality retailers on local radio saying our opportunity for business is diminishing even more as a result of this decision to reduce VAT in the adjoining businesses just a few miles across the border, down from 13% to 9%, and we are struggling with charging a 20% rate. So a 5% rate would be something that would be very, very welcome. In conclusion, Mr Turner, yes, I will give way.
I thank the honourable member for giving way. Whether you want independent stores or fantastic cafes or great restaurants, I can heartily recommend the high streets in Boscombe, Folkestone, Southbourne and Tuxton. And I could go on, but I won't. I could particularly recommend the vintage store off the far post in Boscombe, which is fantastic. Would the honourable member agree with me that we need government to support our high streets so that we have more independent shops and fewer candy shops and fewer vape shops, which are often so brightly lit that you could almost see them from space?
Gregory Campbell.
I would agree with what the honourable member has said in his brief tour of his constituency, which I'm sure is very enticing to those who haven't been. I think we do need support, but we need more than just more of the same. We need to have a structured look at what the high street will look like. Yes, I will, as I come to a conclusion.
I am grateful. He is indeed very generous with his time. Would the honourable gentleman agree that the government's high street rental auctions approach, in which councils can seek to auction the retail rights of an empty shop, is valuable, but needs to have the guidance changed? And would he invite the Minister to have the guidance changed so that it can apply to department stores as well as other?
Gregory Campbell.
Thank the honourable member for that intervention, and I look forward to hearing the Minister respond to that intervention to see as it sounds like a concept worth pursuing. So hopefully the Government Minister will, and I thank him for being in his place, hopefully will be able to respond positively to give us an indication of what the Government intends to do and take a really radical look at how our high street will look in the next few years. Thank you.
The question is that this House has considered government support for high streets Imogen Walker to make a brief speech. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr Chairman. It's a pleasure to serve under your chairmanship. My constituency of Hamilton and Clyde Valley is a mix of countryside towns and villages, and so many of our shops are small businesses who are at the heart of our communities, but the last few years have been very hard on them. COVID, the bungled implementation of Brexit and the stripping out of public services have all sadly revealed the weaknesses of the previous government and taken their toll. The SNP, in addition, cannot manage their finances, and this has also had an impact on our town centres. And now, Mr Turner, we're looking to the future. The UK government has put an end to 14 years of austerity, begun to rebuild our economy and delivered a historical £5 billion extra to Scotland. The 40% business rates relief for the retail sector in Scotland will kickstart investment, get businesses into empty properties and support our hard-working entrepreneurs. But despite their record settlement, the SNP has refused to pass this support on. It would cost them £22 million to support both leisure and retail with business relief, and that is roughly half the cost of suing Rangers Football Club. And this is priorities in action right there. COSLA has said that £300 million would help get our councils back on their feet, investing in our high streets and bringing our town centres back to life. That is less than the Scottish Government's overspend on 2 ferries. For too long, Scottish businesses have paid the price of SNP failure. Our shops are competing against online giants, and that's part of life now, but we must recognise the importance of thriving town centres. I certainly do, because people in Hamilton, Lanark, Larkhall, Lesmahago and across the constituency, in fact, tell me that they want somewhere to go where they can meet their friends, try on a pair of shoes, maybe have a cup of coffee. And why, in that case, is the support that this government is giving our high street shops not being reflected in Scotland? Why can't they help to level the playing field and give our brilliant shops a fighting chance? It will be hard for the Scottish Government, I know, to deal with their overspend and the chaotic management of Scotland's money, which has been mirrored terribly in the SNP's own finances. But despite the problems that they have created for themselves, it's time now to do the right thing, to set out a long-term path to support local economies, start working across all levels of government and stop wasting money. And I know that we can get the boards down from the shop windows. I know that there is the talent, the drive and the energy out there to bring our high streets back to life. And all they need is a chance. All they need is the opportunity to do what they do best. And that is, of course, what we are here to deliver.
Yeah. Minister.
Mr Turner, it's a pleasure to serve under your chairmanship, and in the usual way I congratulate the honourable member for East Londonderry for securing today's important debate, and I apologise to him and to other members of the House for getting my timing slightly wrong. I will make a point of reading the early part of this debate in Hansard a little later on. We've heard, I know, a series of contributions both from the member for East Londonderry and my honourable friend for Hamilton, but also important interventions from a series of honourable members. And in the short time available to me, I probably won't be able to do full justice to all those interventions. But let me try and pick up at least 1 or 2 of the points that have been made. Crucially, I think we do need to underline that retail has a key role to play in supporting high streets in every corner of the UK, particularly in Northern Ireland, given the focus of this debate, but more generally across the UK as well. The retail sector contributed about £110 billion to our economy in 2023, just under 5% of the total UK economy. It remains a very high employment sector, directly supporting 2.9 million jobs across the UK in 2023. In short, retail is the backbone of our high streets and remains a key driver to support economic growth. I recognise that there have been concerning stories in the media recently about the challenges that retailers are facing. And I know this is a concern for members across the House. We know that retailers are facing a series of economic headwinds, as well as dealing with the challenges of changing consumer shopping habits and the rise of online shopping. A thriving high street will continue to need a strong retail offering, helping to drive growth in local communities and supporting local economies too. Never has it been so important to help retailers grow, particularly the small and independent retail businesses that a number of members, not least my honourable friend for Bournemouth East, have referenced. To support, I will do.
Thank you very much to the Minister for giving way, and he rightly talks about the importance of supporting small and independent businesses. One of the things that those businesses rely on is having access to banking, and we are seeing the closure of banks, which has a particular impact in rural communities. For example, my constituents have lost the Barclays in Harleston, and this year are due to lose the Lloyds in Halesworth and Beccles. Could he outline the progress the government is making towards its pledge to roll out far more banking hubs so that local communities and businesses keep access to banking in their market towns and areas?
Minister.
Well, I thank the honourable gentleman for that intervention. The Chancellor of the Exchequer opened the 100th banking hub very recently, and I know from figures that Cash Access UK and Link have published that 200 locations for banking hubs have been identified. Part of the commitment to roll out 350 banking hubs, but we want to do more, and the Post Office plays a key role in offering banking services, particularly so as the banks themselves have exited the high street, and we're beginning work with the Post Office to strengthen its banking offer on the high street. I heard very clearly, my honourable friend for Hampstead's intervention about the directly managed branch in her constituency. I recognise the importance of post offices to all our high streets. She will know that no decision has been made on Hampstead or indeed on any other directly managed branch, but I know she will continue to campaign on this issue. To support businesses, the budget honoured the manifesto commitment not to raise corporation tax. It set out the tax roadmap for this Parliament, in which we will not change corporation tax, which means we have the lowest rate in the G7. All of that will support businesses, including retailers, to invest. As the honourable member for East Londonderry is aware, retail is a devolved matter. I do welcome measures such as the Back in Business rate support scheme, which has been created to incentivise business ratepayers to consider occupying empty retail premises. Vacancy is a blight on too many of our high streets and in our town centres across the country, which can fuel a spiral of decline. And it's why not only government in all its forms, working with local communities and with businesses, needs to work together to strengthen the offer. Of course, I give way to the honourable gentleman.
For giving way, and he quite rightly points out the devolved nature of much of retailing. But would he agree with me that the issue of VAT obviously is not devolved and is a matter for the Treasury, and that the chronic level of VAT at the moment, when compared with our neighbour in the Irish Republic, is having a detrimental effect on retailers?
Well, I think I heard him wanting me to go straight to the Treasury, straight from this debate, to get an immediate concession, and tomorrow. That's very generous of him to take. I will take that particular question away and look at it. I know it's an issue that is particular to Northern Ireland. He will understand that it is not immediately the responsibility of the Department for Business and Trade. But I will nonetheless take a particular look at that issue. Okay.
Grateful to the Minister for giving way. Would he be able to provide a very brief update in his speech on the progress towards reforming business rates? This is a very popular policy with many small businesses, particularly independent retailers in my area. They'd be very grateful for further updates on it. They appreciate the government's working on this matter.
Minister.
Grateful to my honourable friend. Just very briefly, we've made the Chancellor of the Exchequer announced in the budget in October the intention to permanently lower the level of business rates for retail, hospitality and leisure. She also published a discussion paper at the same time to involve the business community in further discussions about what else we can do in the business rates space. So I would strongly encourage members across the House to encourage businesses in their community to get involved in that debate, which makes it all the more striking the intervention of my honourable friend for Hamilton in the approach that the SNP government in Scotland are taking, not to get behind businesses. I hope her intervention is heard, listened to and perhaps acted upon by those currently in government in Scotland. Members will know that more widely we've introduced high street rental auctions, enabling local authorities to tackle decline on the high streets by bringing vacant units back into use. We're already working with 3 local authorities to begin to learn the lessons of how that particular new power works. If the Honourable Gentleman will forgive me, as I've got 3 minutes, I won't let him... 2.5 minutes, OK, thank you very much. I won't let him come in. But if he wants to write to me if there's something I've missed, I'm very happy to reply. Business rates reform I have touched on. We want to introduce a new business growth service to simplify the support that is available for all small businesses, bring it in under one single trusted banner. We're going to set out further reforms in that regard in our small business strategy, which we'll publish later this year. Since I took office in this particular role, I've been engaging with the industry-led Retail Sector Council. This is a collaborative forum made up of widely experienced senior figures from across all parts of the retail industry, helping us and indeed other government departments to think through the particular challenges facing the retail sector. One of those big challenges is around how we tackle retail crime. Shop theft continues to increase at an unacceptable level, with more and more offenders using violence and abuse against shop workers to do this. Recent figures from the British Retail Consortium's annual crime survey, Mr Turner, show that violent and abusive incidents are up more than 50% last year, and retailers are reporting 55,000 thefts a day. That's why clamping down on this behaviour is one of the first steps we are taking to delivering safer communities, including delivering on a specific commitment to a new offence for assaults on shop workers. We're also ending the effective immunity that the previous government granted to help stop theft of goods under £200. In conclusion, we all know that retail businesses are hugely important to our constituents and to our high streets. I know they matter to all of our constituents. I thank the honourable member for giving the House the opportunity to raise this important issue, and I'm very happy to take up further specific concerns that any honourable member has in this space.
Order, order. I'll put the question. The question is that this House has considered government support for high street retailers. As many as are of the opinion say aye. Aye. Of the contrary, no. The ayes have it. The ayes have it.
You spoke to them.